Welcome, fearfully and wonderfully made humans. Bienvenido, humano formidable y maravilloso. You're listening to a special edition of the Holistic Counselor podcast, where faith, science, and holistic healing intersect. I'm your host, Diana Santiago Rice, from Through the Valley Therapy and Transform Mind Consulting and Coaching, and I'm a second generation Latina. Today, we're centering our voices. Why? Because right now, so many Latinas are searching for answers to the weight they carry: anxiety, people pleasing, silence, guilt, feeling stuck between two worlds. Research shows that only about 1 in 3 Latinas with mental health struggles actually receive treatment. Stigma, cultural expectations, language barriers, and lack of culturally competent care keep too many of us out of the healing spaces we need. That's why the Rise Latina Summit was created. A bilingual, bicultural space by Latinas for Latinas. It's about mind and body renovation, breaking cycles, and reclaiming resilience. And I am not alone today. I'm honored to be joined by 3 powerhouse Latina women. Ana Martinez, founder of the Rise Latina Summit and Lumen Cordis Behavioral Health. She was also my guest on episode 51, Healing Intergenerational Trauma, EFT Tapping, and Mental Health First Aid. Naihomy Jerez, certified nutrition and hormonal health coach. Her presentation is called Beyond the Scale, Redefining Weight Loss as a Latina. Carol Martínez, psychologist by training and mentor in conscious life and parenting. Her presentation is called Reconectar con el poder personal y aprender a vivir con la lógica del amor. I think I said that right, but she will clarify that
Yes.
for me. Okay. And my presentation, Breaking Cycles, Building Resilience, a second generation Latina's path to mind and body renovation. Together, we're going to talk about why this summit matters, what each of us is bringing, and we'll share some practical takeaways you can start using today. So whether you're listening in English, Spanish, or Spanglish, whether you're ever been told you're too Latina or not Latina enough, this space is for you. Let's rise together. So let's start with the brain behind this whole summit, Ana. Ana, who are you and why did you create this?
And well, thank you for having us today. I'm super excited. So I am by training a licensed mental health counselor here in Florida. I was born and raised in Peru, and moved to the US when I was 13. And now I think I work a lot with Latinas. A lot of my clients are either immigrants or first generation. I see a lot of struggle with anxiety, a lot of trauma, whether it's because of the immigration process, sometimes it's also just acculturation, right? So if it's second generation, like the parents were like still comparing from what they were used to in their home countries and then bringing it here. There's a lot of layers to it. And I think in mental health, there's a lot of barriers. So I know that I'm seeing, a good chunk of people, but there's a way more out there that maybe are encountering the same struggles and then they don't know that there's help out there. So I started doing my own personal journey and growth, and I love reading and doing, listening to podcasts and just growing. And I recently found someone that was explaining the menstrual cycle, and it was so silly, and but they went into like the hormones and the foods and the exercises and the energy, and my mind was just blown, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm like, how do they not teach this? And then time went on, and then I found something else, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do we not know this, and it was one of those things that I was like, wow, like this makes a huge difference for me. And I was like, how can we spread the word, first of all, and then two, like with mental stigma, I feel like that's just um, an open door. Once we open it, like there's so many, like I said, layers to it, and so many resources available. And I'm like, how can we get this to our people, but then also from our people, because I think also for us Latinas, we crave something, and we also honor our roots in a very unique way. So I feel like what we are able to give to others is just so unique and special, and easier to receive from someone that can relate to us. So I created this space as a way to help break down all those barriers, let people know that there's resources out there, and then also showcase like the amazing talents that we all bring to the table, while also just finding healing and hope for those that maybe are not in our home countries anymore, or that we can trace our roots, but we are still trying to honor those, like, Hispanic or Latin roots. I know, like, I love identify myself as a Latina. And so the first time that someone says, like, oh, I didn't think you were Latina, I couldn't hear the accent, I was offended. And I'm like, you don't think I'm Latina? So I think it's one of those things I want to honor where we come from. And I thought, why not do it now during Hispanic Heritage Month, in a time where there's a lot of struggles, just as a society, right? Let alone Latinas as women, we're facing a lot of challenges. So I feel like this is a time for us to come together, to raise our voices and just rise together.
I love that, Anna. Thank you. Thank you. Carol, the question is, who are you, and what drew you to say yes to Anna?
Well, my name is Carol Martínez. I come from Colombia and I moved in here 10 years ago, around 10 years ago. Right now, I am doing mentoring, online mentoring for families. Principal is what I'm doing right now. What Recently I finished my certification in Terapia Femenina Integrativa. It's easier for me saying in Spanish only. I have been going like trying to translate it in my head, but it's because I have been working almost for 6 years now, with principalmente with moms, with women that they are in different parts of the world, but principal here. Yeah, and it's what Anna says, right? We have, as Latin woman, we have a lot of taste and happiness and these Caribbean vibes, but we have been carrying with a lot of trauma. So, nuestra cultura realmente tiene mucho por sanar. Y este mundo tiene mucho por sanar. La sociedad de hoy, today's society needs really to change a lot of things. And we really need to like reactivate the feminine sense, la energía femenina en este mundo, que es la energía que sana, la energía que nutre, la energía que sostiene. Y si nosotras como mujeres todavía o nos encontramos desconectadas de ese poder, ¿qué es lo que va a sanar y sostener el mundo? Entonces, esto fue lo que me llamó la atención de este summit. Says just to Anna, is that just to our healing, our empowerment, our reconnection about the name of my speaking, it's that thing. It's reconectar con nuestro poder personal, and my message is aprender a vivir con la lógica del amor. Como mujeres, como madres, como padres, porque trabajo principalmente con familias, porque al tener a mi hija en mis brazos, yo dije, yo necesito ser parte del cambio que quiero ver en este mundo y que quiero dejarle a las nuevas generaciones, a mi hija y a los niños que están ahora, que tengan una historia diferente para ver una sociedad diferente mañana. That's why I said yes to Anna.
Ay, qué
And
bonito.
thank you for the
Sí.
invitation.
Ay, Carol, that was wonderful. And I understood it. That's even better.
Ah, yeah.
No, and I get to practice. This is why I'm excited. Okay, Naomi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Ana and Diana. My name is Naihomy Jerez. I am a certified integrative nutrition and hormone health coach. I am also the podcast host of Let's Be Healthy Latinas. I am deeply passionate about teaching Latinas and women of color how to use food and lifestyle to redefine weight loss, to support their hormones, and to heal their bodies while living their best life. As we all know, Latinas love to have a good time. We're very family oriented. We love to dance. And I think that keeping in mind that we love to live our best lives is important, because I think that a lot of times when it comes to wellness, it's very rigid, is very strict, is very not kind to ourselves. And I really, really wanted to change that. I really wanted to show the perspective of we can keep our cultural foods, we can keep our cultural lifestyle going, mixed with this new world of a lot of us being first gen or being here in the United States. And how do we manage that? How do we take care of us? And that was part of the reason, or one of the main reasons, why I did say yes to Ana and the Rise Latina Summit, because for us to rise, we need to be in good health. For us to show up, we need to be in good health. And it is one of the things that gets put into the back burner consistently. And as we're talking about healing generational trauma, a lot of things that we've seen growing up is the moms and la tia y la abuela putting their self on the back burner, not taking care of themselves. And I always remind my clients and my community, you taking care of yourself first is not selfish. You learning how to do things for you and showing up for you first is not selfish. If anything, is the most loving thing that you can do, because then you do have the energy, the mental clarity, the power, and the desire to show up for everybody else the way that you would like to show up. So a lot of the work I do is surrounded around that. And any chance I get to share and to bring a new perspective into our community, I'm like, yes, I'm there. If we're rising, we need our health. And very similar to Ana's story, when I started finding out about food, I thought I knew it all. I'm like, yes, of course, you eat less arroz and, you have more ensaladas and you have all this boring food. And no, it was so much deeper than that. And that gave me, myself, a really big transformation in wellness, where I ended up, looking how I wanted to look physically, but at the same time healing pre-diabetes and just feeling really good in my skin in a way that I have never felt before. And I too was like, why don't we know this? Like, why does our community not know this? We would be so much better off, and the way that we feel in healing, if we just had a little bit more of this information. So this is why I'm here, because a lot of us strive for career, a lot of us strive to make money, generational wealth. But what are we going to do when we ourselves are not well? That is at the foundation. So that's part
Yeah.
of the reason why I'm here.
I love that. I love this. So for me, well, first of all, I remember, I think we were in Boynton Beach when you just came to me, hey, Diana, I was thinking about this. And I'm like, oh, and here we are. And so we're both met at a holistic business network. So I knew Anna understood the mind, body, and spirit connection. And I am a certified integrative mental health professional. But being a second generation Latina, I know firsthand the unique weight we carry, trying to honor our culture at home while also navigating what it means to be American. It's a really hard place for us that many people don't understand unless you're living it. And I have quite a few clients, and not just Latinas, it's clients from all Caribbean islands or from other countries that come to me, I mean, because they're born here in this country, and they at home, it's that beautiful culture. Oh, like the wonderful, beautiful culture. And then there's places in that beautiful culture that says, you don't talk about this stuff outside these walls. And then we're in the American culture, growing up in the schools, growing up with the language, and then not feeling we have a place either way. And this is why I decided to do the second generation, but also why I said yes to Anna, because I knew her heart, and she is very genuine and authentic. And when I see someone that's genuine and authentic, and I realize their heart, because this is not so I know for Anna, this is not supposed to be, it's not. I know it's not a money making machine for her, because some people think that, when you see some kind of summit or anything. And to me, I knew that if she was curating speakers and knowing her heart, she cares about our people. And that is why I said yes. And that's why I believe this space is important, because it's not just for the first generation, the second generation, or listen, if we have children, right? Like I have a kid, who's a quarter, Hispanic, but I'm teaching him like, hello, you are Hispanic. And then my stepkids, I teach them like, you have a Latina abuelita. That's what you call me, abuelita. And they do. All of them call me abuelita. And it's so funny because it's a natural thing where they're at their schools going, you don't have Alita? And they're like, Alita, what's that? And so it's just a place that is my why, is because I also miss having my family because most of my family has passed, especially the women. And so for me to come together, yeah, to come together with you girls means a lot. Woo, get it together. Anyway, so that is my why. So now let's move to the next question, because I think it's super important for us to now maybe talk to our listeners. So, if a listener could walk away with just one practical tool or mindset shift from you, give them a little taste of what you are talking about in the summit, and just give them a little bit of like what's happening so they understand that they want to sign up for this if they are Latinas, and tell their friends about it. Anna, what would be one practical tool or mindset shift from you?
Um, I think I would also one kind of going what everyone is saying right now, why they say the yes. I think encouraging people to say yes to themselves, right? So that means like listening to your body, listening to your feelings, listening to your needs. I am honestly super impressed and so thrilled with so many amazing speakers. Like it went, I started off with thinking how to heal anxiety and that generational trauma. But again, all those layers, right? And there's all these components from like parenting, second generation, hormones, food, finances, like security, right? The scarcity mindset. So, and like there's amazing speakers that are like bringing in such great talk. So, my encouragement would be like say yes to yourself, like be curious and allow yourself to just feel and like be open to what people are sharing. I think sometimes our ego can get in the way and we can be like, oh, I'm going to figure it out or I can do this, right? So just kind of be open and seeing like, okay, like there is more to learn. And I think that's where the beauty of empowerment and healing and growth happens.
Yes, yeah. Naomi, what's a one nugget, one little golden nugget that you could give the listener at this moment?
Yeah, for sure. So I thought a lot about what direction I wanted to go in with my presentation. I'm like, do I talk about hormones? Do we talk about food? And I decided to focus on weight because it is something that I hear about and see over and over again in our community, trying to shrink ourselves, trying to look different, trying to change things about our appearance. And that's okay, right? Like, that's okay. We can all desire to make a difference in ourselves. But what I often see is a lot of self punishment and self deprecation, and sometimes is not even our own. It comes from generations where our family members were telling us about ourselves, were calling us gordita or flaquita or don't eat that or estás comiendo mucho, no ha comido. And there's these constant comments coming at us. And what I have found working with my clients is that a lot of times the thoughts that they have about themselves and the reason why they want to make a change to their appearance is not because of their own thoughts and actually what they want to do, is because of what they've been told in the past. So we kind of start over and we start really uncovering what they actually think about themselves without what the family members have told them in the past or continue to tell them. So why I went back to weight and why you should come look and be part of my presentation is because I'm going to offer you just a little bit of a different perspective to think about weight. And I think that can be very liberating and very freeing when we understand a little bit more about our body. What does weight actually mean? And kind of start to really be autonomous and really start to identify why you want to make these changes. Why is it that you want to do? What have you been told before? How are you actually feeling? And bringing in that new perspective. I really want to encourage everybody to like feel a little bit lighter in their spirit when they have a little bit more information and knowledge. And then if you want to make a change, which is, yeah, go ahead, go for it, is a more informed change. Your why is a little bit more grounded in what you want, not what you've been told and what other people are telling you. So I think it's a very important topic in our community. If people are talking about it out loud, or it's something that's continuously eating at them in their mind every single day, then I hope that my presentation serves them.
Wow, Naomi, that's great. And you're right. I'm when you were saying flaquita y gordita, I heard both. Honestly, all my life. And I was just like, wait, flaquita, gordita, which one am I? And then throw me into the real American system of everything I'm learning. And then it's just like, wait, which one am I? Anyway, so yeah, that is something. I mean, I know it's term of endearment. I get it. Now that I'm grown and done all the therapeutic work I needed to do before becoming a wounded healer, yeah, I get it now. But when you're young and you don't understand and you're getting all those stories of your weight, and then if you're in this culture here, the westernized culture, it puts a number on you as well. And people don't understand. And this is what I love what you said, that it isn't about the outside. Health is the new wealth. Health is the new wealth. And we have to understand that if we do not make time for our wellness, we're going to be forced to make time for our illness. And this is something we all need to understand. This is beautiful. I love that. All right, Carolita. No, I'm sorry. It's your turn.
I love that word because it's the how my family just calls me, or people that really loves me calls me, and I miss that actually because in here anyone calls me like that. So Carolita is something that I love. Thank you. It's just lovely. Um, any kind of issue that you are going through, I will say just stop. Stop and watch inside of yourself and just get reconnected with the whole meaning of you. That's actually the emphasis of my speaking. Reconecta con tu verdadero poder personal. Que te detengas y mires adentro, porque de la verdadera transformación viene de adentro hacia afuera. I cannot transform myself if I just keep trying to get fit in this like crazy dynamic, right? Esta dinámica defensiva y reactiva de esta inconsciencia generalizada en la que estamos sumidos en este momento. El mundo, la sociedad, nos está mostrando su sufrimiento, nos muestra cuánto duele. Nosotros, ourselves, are just carrying a lot of suffering that we are creating. We decide to keep with ourselves. So if we keep trying to look outside what we really need to work inside, what we really need to heal inside, it will be the same thing like a hamster wheel, just running and running and running and running, but we cannot go to anywhere else. We estaremos estancadas en el mismo lugar. Entonces, porque digamos que esta es la esencia de mi mensaje en todo el trabajo que yo hago en los acompañamientos a las familias individuales, en el énfasis que quiero darle a los padres, especialmente a las madres, para criar a sus hijos. Tú no puedes entregar lo que no tienes adentro. Tú quieres entregar amor, necesitas trabajar y desarrollar un amor sano porque no vas a poder entregar un amor sano a tus hijos si no sabes cómo se siente, si no puedes dártelo a ti misma y a los padres, por supuesto, a ti mismo. Entonces, mira hacia adentro, hazte cargo, sana lo que tienes que sanar, desarrolla o adquiere, get the skills that you need to get, because life is about learning, about evolution. It's not just, that's the way that I am, and that's all, right? Eso es todo lo que tienes. That's it. No, tú tienes la posibilidad y el poder de transformar tu vida, pero no mirando hacia afuera, no buscando satisfacer las voces de afuera. Necesitas conectarte contigo, con tu poder personal al máximo para poder vivir desde la autenticidad. Solo desde ahí realmente no solo vas a transformar tu vida, sino que de verdad, that's the way that you really will do some kind of impact outside in the world. Cuando tú cambias, tu relación contigo se transforma y de ahí en adelante es como un hermoso dominó de luz, porque vas a empezar a poner luz en cualquier lugar en el que estés. Y de eso se trata. Mi propósito es sembrar semillas de amor consciente, de amor y conciencia. Y que las personas, las mujeres que asistan a este summit, se lleven eso con una semillita que crezca adentro, luego ellos van a ir a esparcirlas y eso es así con cada persona con la que conozcan. Quien quiera recibirla y nutrirla, bueno, eso ya es decisión de cada quien, pero nosotros estamos esparciendo y entre más semillas repartamos y esparzamos, the more merrier es que dicen aquí, right?
Sí, sí.
Entonces, entre más, pues van a haber muchas más oportunidades de que se genere una siembra y una cosecha de eso, de amor y conciencia en el mundo. Y de eso se trata pues es como el enfoque de mi chat.
Sí, mira, Carolita, eso fue muy bonito. And for those that didn't understand one word that she said in Spanish, but I kind of, I mean, I understood it, and I know she talked about planting seeds, right? To create something beautiful. Anna, is there something else you would like to summarize? Because this is just three speakers that you have. Can you just talk about, and I'm going to tell you my nugget in a little bit, with what I would like a practical tool, but I really want to go into now how we see, this is just a tiny little taste, right? It's a seed. The four of us are seeds. But I love what Carol was saying. Can you just summarize a little bit for those that did not understand her in Spanish?
Yeah, so she was talking about the power to look within, right? That we need to look within yourself before you can give to others. So, especially in the world that we live nowadays, it's sometimes we try to fit into certain schemas or like we try to change the outside world, but we can't expect that from others if we're not looking or nurturing ourselves. So, through her work, she is kind of spreading those seeds, right? Of like love and hope, empowerment, and like that conscientiousness that she's working through. And so after that, it's up to the person to nurture that seed and to watch it grow. But that's what we're doing, spreading the seeds and then hoping that people are able to take that seed and run with it, right? Grow with it and run with it. And like she was saying, the more the merrier, because the more seeds that we spread, the more joy, the more love, the more that we heal one another, that we share that. Like, can you imagine the transformation in the world, right? Like we were talking about, she was talking about the feminine power and like the love, like how amazing is that? Like, and I think sometimes we think about all the horrible things that are going on in the world, and it can be so overwhelming and just discouraging. But we can go with those seeds, plant those seeds, nurture those seeds, and be there for one another. Our communities can be transformed. And I feel like that's where the change starts, just within ourselves, right? And then that kind of just shines on, spreads over.
Yes. No, that's what I got from her too. This is wonderful. What I love about what you've created, Anna, is that you are giving space. So if someone's listening right now that only speaks Spanish, they have the opportunity to learn and grow and heal with us as a community, and there's spaces just for Spanish speakers. And then you have those that only English, which, or both, that can do both and all of it. Like, this is so wonderful. And so for me, if there was one practical tool or mindset, it would be naming what you carry. That is the first step to healing, is naming it. Because that's what happens. I saw it growing up in my culture where women were just, and especially being second generation, I was called the spoiled American in my family because I'm the first one to go to, say, college or even have a high school diploma, and so the pressure was really heavy, and the guilt was different than most other women's guilt because we have where we don't want to burden our mom because we see their trauma. they come with some heavy, heavy stuff coming from a different country. And then they show us and share was like, you Americans have no idea what trauma is or what being poor is. And she's right. When I went to visit, I'm just like, oh my, I came back and I think I kissed the tarmac when I when I got off the plane. It was just understanding like, oh wow. So you don't want to burden anybody and you grow up not wanting to be a burden but you still feel a burden because some of us come from poor backgrounds or we're striving and we're in survival mode. So naming what you carry is the first step to healing, okay? Whether it's sacrifice, expectations, silence, or survival, once you name it, you could begin to shift it. So I use cognitive behavioral therapy and internal family systems as a therapist, but as a coach, like Carolita said, it's just being part with someone to hold you accountable. Because that's super important. That's why you would hire Naihomy, me, or Carol, or Anna after a summit or something like that to really get to know, like, hey, you're not alone, number one. Number two, we have tools and we've already done the work. So we've built the trail, even though you have your own story and your own journey, that, it's kind of like we're on the same road with different scenery. And so it's hard because sometimes we do have to swallow our pride. Sometimes we do have to take that deep breath and go, wait, whose narrative is this? Is this the narrative from the culture? Is this the narrative from my parents? Is this the narrative from the school, the village that raised us? And so really naming it would be probably, I would say, would be one of the things for a mindset shift. All right. Next and last question, because I know we all have to get to work and do other things. Anna. Well, no, I want to end with Anna. Let's do Carol. What do you hope that a woman will gain from this summit? Why do you believe women should attend this? And what do you hope that they will gain?
I'm sorry, I was silent. I could silence my microphone. Conscious is the word because we have been living like just in a long, long sleeping way, right? El pez no sabe que está en el agua hasta que sale de ella. No tiene ni idea, ¿cierto? Todo es lo mismo. Everything that we have been living is like the same, just the same and the same and the same. We have naturalized the suffering and the pain and the mental issues and the anxious living and like living with un sistema nervioso hiperactivado. Yeah, it's like a normal thing for us, and nowadays it's like more than normal, right? Everyone is just in a rush, in a rush, in a rush. So es bajar el ritmo, que se lleven tú tienes el poder de bajar el ritmo, de detenerte, de mirar, de poner, de conectarte con lo que estás viviendo, de conectarte con cada decisión. Tienes la responsabilidad, está la posibilidad y empieza el poder de asumir la responsabilidad de hacer esos cambios que tú necesitas hacer. Eso que le has pedido a todo el mundo afuera que haga para que tú estés bien, ok, que de aquí te lleves que tú tienes el poder adentro para hacer ese cambio, que es ahí en donde realmente está. Yo he pasado por ese cambio, yo lo viví, yo también estuve dormida, yo también viví relaciones dolorosas, traiciones, un sinfín de cosas. Hay historia generacional, historia de mi propia vida que me ha generado, que me generó mucho dolor, una carga de dolor, y yo siempre buscaba afuera y por lo tanto culpaba afuera. Entonces aquí es eso, volver adentro, darte cuenta que es tu poder, es tu posibilidad, que lo que tú haces es responsabilidad tuya y lo que los demás hacen, eso es responsabilidad de ellos. No es restar ni justificar, pero tú haces lo que haces y eso no es culpa de nadie. Tus decisiones, your decisions are yours. That's not fault of anyone, anybody else. It's just your work. Your life, your actions, your decisions. So, si tú no estás conectado contigo, va a seguir saliendo de lugares de los que yo hablaremos precisamente hablaré de eso en la charla, the speaking, pero va a seguir saliendo como, ¿y de dónde sale eso? Es culpa del otro. No, todo eso está en ti. El cómo construyes tu realidad está en ti, surge de tus decisiones. Entonces, llévate eso y acá sé que lo vas a encontrar desde diferentes ángulos, como hablaba Naomi, la conexión con el cuerpo, desde la psicología integrativa, justamente es conectar mente, cuerpo, todo este tema socioemocional que hace parte nuestra y nuestro espíritu también, independientemente de la religión que profeses. Somos 4 cuerpos en uno y hay que honrarlos, pero no podemos honrarlos mientras estemos buscando afuera, lo que nosotros tenemos la responsabilidad de darlos. Entonces, eso es lo que te diría, llévate y sé que en este summit vas a encontrarlo, también por lo menos este punto de partida, que fácil es decirlo, requiere un trabajo y un esfuerzo consciente hacerlo. I'm sorry, this was easier speaking in Spanish because
No,
it's
don't be
like a lot of
sorry.
information.
And that's the thing. See, we have to
Uh-huh.
learn. You had nothing to be sorry about. This is all how it is and how it's unfolding beautifully because that is the goal. We all are having the same goal, and that is to heal our people. And what I loved, Carolita, was what I kept hearing is the possibilities of becoming better and being responsible. So possibilities, it rhymes in Spanish more. I'm like, so it was wonderful. All right. So Naomi, why do you believe women should attend this summit and what do you hope they'll gain?
I believe that women should attend the summit the power, because of the power of a different perspective, because of the power of having your mind blown. Just showing up is good enough. Just showing up and listening. And there has been so many times where one word, one sentence, you know, one possibility of being seen from someone who looks like me, who've had similar experiences as me, who's had, a similar lifestyle as me, is just maybe exactly what you need to start planting the seed, like Carolita was saying, to start taking action. And like she mentioned, it is a journey. And this might be your starting point, exactly how she mentioned. So give yourself that opportunity. If you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling like there's no way out, if you're like, this is not possible for me, you might find what you need there because you can create a connection between what someone else is saying or a workshop and your own life, right? So this is one of the reasons why they should show up. And I think the second part was, what do I want them to take from it?
What do you hope they'll gain? Yes.
What do I hope they'll gain? That they can do whatever it is has been weighing on them, that it's possible for them to do that. And it's possible for them to have some kind of time for them to take care of themselves. I hear it all the time. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to move my body. I don't have time. I have all these responsibilities. Yes, I get that. I get that. And there is a way. And sometimes I use an analogy similar to Carolita's analogy, where she mentioned, like, if there's a fish in water, it doesn't know it's in water until you take it out, right? And I use this analogy of, like, you know how to read, right? But if the book is literally in your face, so close to your face, is touching your nose, can you really read? So sometimes the zooming out and listening to different perspectives, again, there's power in shifting your perspective, then it can give you exactly what you need to be like that hope of, oh, this is possible. Let me try XYZ. So that hope, that perspective shift to get you started, to get you curious, and to get you a little bit connected back to yourself instead of everything that your circumstances that are around you. I hope that's what they take away from it.
I love that. I totally love that. Yeah. And for me, it's like understanding healing does not happen in isolation. It does not happen in isolation. It happens in community. And living here, being, I love my country. I have to make sure everyone understands I love America. But we are a very individualistic country. And because of that, we are trained to become like that when we come from other countries. And then we're thinking that is the American way. But that's the shift. That is where I'm seeing the shift, the understanding of like, we can't live in isolation anymore. We have to build community, healthy communities, because not all communities are healthy. And I know being raised, I see the greatness of my culture, but I also see the toxicity that has happened where we are passing it on to the next generation, and it stops with us. That's the choice. We are stopping it. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a shift. It's a growth. It's evolving. It's understanding the whole being, how God created us. So for me, my hope is that every woman comes to this leaving feeling seen, less alone, more empowered to break these cycles and build resilience in their own life. So, on that ending, because we're almost out of time, Ana, this is your baby. And we're so happy to be part of it. Can you just name a few more maybe titles or whatever so people understand like what else we're talking about? Because we expressed a little bit of each one of our talks and walks, but it's like, what else can the listener expect on this summit? And then I'll close out.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, just even hearing each of you, it's like this is super exciting. And I think, I mean, when I first approached you, Diana, I thought it was, people might be interested, but I never thought it was like, oh my goodness, this is so like not only needed, but this is going to be so great because there is so many amazing women coming together for this. So I've divided the day into, it's going to be a 3-day summit. So the first day, the theme is going to be healing, and it kind of goes into what Carol was saying, kind of checking within, right? So going within, looking at maybe what you don't know is there, right? Sometimes we just keep pushing through and we don't acknowledge what we're going through. Or we've just normalized it and we've gotten used to it. A lot of my clients come into therapy and they don't really know why they're there. They just know I'm not happy. Like I've done this, I'm just not happy. I'm not feeling like myself. There's something off. They don't know what they're looking for, but they know there's something off. So that day is going to tap into that, checking in with yourself, like hearing from different experts, like what, might be a couple of things that you might want to explore, or like those little seeds that we can start off. The next day is going to be nurturing. So nurturing your body, nurturing your confidence. So going back to what Naihomy was saying, we can't, it's really hard to do anything if you're not healthy, right? So we need to take care of our body. And I think as women in general, we tend to not prioritize that. So our sleep, our food, our routines, our like everything. So kind of tapping into like, okay, what are ways that we can nurture our body that can then in turn nurture our mind, our spirit, and our emotions, right? Because that also is going to help manage anxiety and everything else mental health related. And then the last day, it's transform. So tapping into everything, into that abundance and empowerment. And then going from that journey, right? So we start off with the healing, we go into the nurturing, and then at the end, I'm hoping that people will notice and know that they're worthy, right? And that as Latinas, we have so much power, so much courage and resilience that we can literally go and transform the world. We just need to be authentic and honor who we are.
What day, when is, I don't know, because I'm so busy. So it's a 3-day, correct?
So it's a 3-day. We start Tuesday, October 14th through Thursday, October 16th. We're
Okay.
going to have a kickoff call that Monday evening just to like let people come in, kind of check out, how this is going to work. We're going to be playing bingo, so people have a chance to like win prizes. There's like a Facebook community exactly because of that as well, to create that community. And I think it's so much more valuable as well, being able to connect with other people that might be able to relate. I'm excited because, as you said, we're hosting it mainly in English, but we do have Spanish sessions each day. And I'm thrilled. I don't know
Love
about
that.
you guys, but like when I'm super tired or angry or emotional, I tap into my Spanish. So I just can't even think in English. Like my partner knows when I'm so angry, I was like, I can't even talk because I can't even think in English. I was like, I go back to my Spanish. So like it's one of those things. So even with like talks I've been to, I could hear the same thing. It just hits differently in Spanish. And everyone's gonna have their own journey. So we're gonna have sessions in English, some sessions in Spanish each day. And so people are going to be able to go in and check those talks depending on their own journey.
On what day can we hear Carolita's? Is that on
I believe
before?
that's the first day, the 14th.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about Naihomy?
The second day. So she's nurturing the body. And I think you and Carol on the first day for that healing part.
Oh, I'm part of the healing. All right.
Yes, I believe so. Okay, so don't quote me. I've been finalizing and I've been moving around people.
No,
and
I can
so
imagine.
exciting because I feel like some of them go into a couple of different things. So it was hard, but it is 3 days. I did hopefully. So I think you two are on the first day and Naihomi's on the second one. But don't forget that. So
No. Well, this is why I'm going to drop the link on the show notes and you could find it. So everything. And I'm also going to drop the links of everyone here. So like their own businesses as well. And unless, Anna, you want to give me everybody's thing, even though they're not here, I could just drop it into the show notes. So let me know. We'll talk afterwards. So listener, thank you for spending time with us Latinas. Okay, let's tell everybody where we're from. Maybe that would be awesome. Like, and what we're representing. So I'll start with me because I'm half Colombia and half Puerto Rican, right? With an American flag draped over me, but it's still Colombiana y Puertorriqueña, and that was very confusing growing up because that's a whole other talk and summit of being from two different Spanish cultures. Okay, Naihomy.
I am from the Dominican Republic. I was born in the Dominican Republic, and then my mom moved with me to New York when I was almost 2 years old. But I didn't learn English until I was 5 when I started going to school.
Wow, yeah, that makes a difference. Carolita.
Yeah.
Bueno, yo soy de Bogotá, Colombia. Llevo 10 años aquí y ahora estoy criando a mi hija nacida aquí en Estados Unidos. Entonces, pues tengo la mitad de mi corazón aquí en
Oh,
Estados Unidos
uh,
y mi origen es hispano. Mi esposo también es de Colombia, así que pues, su segundo país también es como Colombia. Y dice a veces, yo soy de Colombia, bueno, aquí estamos haciendo la diferenciación también. Tus raíces, sí, y tu país, pues es este, ¿no?
yeah, I love that. Raíces países, posible, responsible. No, I can't even say that last word. Anna.
Peru, born and raised until I was 13. I was born in Lima, raised in the South for about 10 years before moving to the States when I was about 13.
Do you know the cultures or the countries that are represented of the other speakers? Can you name some others that you know of? If you don't, that's okay.
No. I can see some flags. I think one is also from the Dominican Republic. I think no, that's a great question. But I do have that in the post where I'm like, people are going to share their flags. So people,
I love that. I know in my presentation at the very, very end, I created that whole little flag thing. I don't know if you looked through the presentations yet, but I purposely created those. Oh, there's from Mexico. A speaker from Mexico.
Colombia, Peru. Oh, yes, we have another Peruvian, and we have people from Argentina as well.
I love that.
Yes,
What about Yali? Yali or Yala?
Yeah, she is from Dominican Republic as well.
Okay. No. So we're going to have all the different flags. This is wonderful. And I'm so happy to have met you, Carolita and Naihomy. And we'll have to talk after we're done to come on my show. And Anna, I am so, I don't even know if I want to use the word proud or not. I'm just so grateful and honored to be, first of all, not only a colleague, but a sister in the Latina bloodline, and just being a friend. Thank you so much. Gracias. Thank you all for being here. And don't forget to sign up now for the Rise Latina Summit happening October 14th through the 16th, 2025. You'll find the details in the show notes, and trust me, you do not want to miss this bilingual, bicultural space created to lift up Latina voices. Healing is possible, renovation is possible, and together we rise. And as always, don't forget to trust in the Lord, guard your heart, and renew your mind. Confía en el Señor, guarda tu corazón y renovar tu mente. Adiós. And now for the disclaimer to make sure you understand that you are responsible for you. The content provided on the Holistic Counselor podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical or mental condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast are my personal opinions and do not represent the views of any professional organizations with which I am affiliated. Call your doctor, 911, or 988 immediately if you have a medical emergency. The Holistic Counselor podcast does not recommend or endorse any specific tests, physicians, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that may be mentioned on the podcast. Reliance on any information provided by the Holistic Counselor podcast, guests appearing on the podcast at the invitation of the Holistic Counselor podcast, or other listeners to the podcast is solely at your own risk. Confidentiality notice. If you engage with the Holistic Counselor podcast by commenting or posting and are a client, please be aware that you may be revealing information that could compromise your confidentiality. Please remember that disclosing your identity or personal details can be linked to your clinical material. As a therapist, I am bound by confidentiality and will not respond to any disclosures of this type on this podcast. I am committed to upholding the ethics and confidentiality of the therapeutic relationship, which extends to all forms of communication in accordance with the laws and professional guidelines that govern mental health professionals. I want you to know that your privacy is of utmost importance, and you are responsible for protecting it when interacting on this platform or any other public forum. Thank you.